the first big scandal, I'd say, of the Trump administration that's on Team Rational. It's not a fake media scandal like the left tries to create for President Trump every other day. It's one of the right's own making, and it's not going well. And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
TPUSA, how frightening was that speech to the Israel lobby?
Well,
and
Tucker
himself
wasn't the only one. Tucker is the one that everybody followed. Like, he's the most popular figure within the America First popular movement. But a lot of other guests at TPUSA discussed not only Epstein, but they had a debate about Israel and Gaza, which for that to happen on Charlie Kirk's platform is what tells me this is a shift happening at the grassroots level that they can no longer ignore, because Charlie Kirk would happily ignore it if he could. He would never discuss Israel or even Epstein, I think, if he didn't have to, because he represents what is the grassroots young conservative movement. What is the future of I don't even want to say Republican Party. I just want to say conservatism in the United States, because I'm not sure that they will last as Republicans. But it's like the boomer generation. Once those people are out of the way and this TPUSA movement grows up, these are kind of the people that were college students under the first Trump, are now in their late 20s, early 30s under this era of Trump. And they, I did this deep investigation look at Nick Fuentes a few years ago, because under Trump 1, he was leading this movement of college students that would go to TPUSA events, Charlie Kirk events on college campuses, and interrupt them, or even just ask respectfully during Q&A about the special relationship with Israel, about the USS Liberty. I mean, they would put Charlie Kirk on the spot at almost every university he went to, and they humiliated him because they showed that he didn't really represent America First. He was willing to deny that the U.S. Liberty was attacked by Israel. He was not willing to resolve the contradictions between saying that he was America First, but then taking these positions that were very pro-Israel that didn't match with U.S. interests.
Just wanted to illustrate on his
from
point.
America First perspective, why do we give $3.8 billion to Israel, which is more aid than we've given to Africa, more aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people, especially when they deliberately attacked the USS Liberty in the 1970s.
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theories in our event. That is not acceptable. Do not say that.
Okay, Dean Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine. And then the second part is also, you have the Apollo incident in which they illegally stole weapons-grade uranium. The CIA has reports on this.
Anti-Zionist,
No, I'm not anti-Israel. I'm just asking from America First perspective, because it's not in our interest. They act against our interest.
Remember the short question part?
Sure. I mean, how is it in our interest that we give this money to Israel?
All right, so it's required that they have to buy American weaponry.
You can see he's holding a Christian cross in his hand to kind of emphasize the point that they are the true America First, and Charlie Kirk is bought and paid for by a foreign nation.
So it's required that they have to buy American weaponry. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, the only place where all 3 monotheistic religions are allowed to peacefully practice. It's the only country in the Middle East.
Don Jr.'s clapping along.
Yeah.
Where all 3 monotheistic religions are represented in their government. It's the only place in the Middle East that has any appreciation for LGBT rights whatsoever. It's the only.
So Charlie Kirk is now pro-trans.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing, because he's one of the most anti-trans people now online, and he would be, but he's now saying they have gay pride parades, so it's all good.
In the Middle East.
Who killed Charlie Kirk? Now, my opinion, obviously, is going to be biased, but if I was Trump and I wanted to get rid of the Epstein, I would look at my biggest person that was rounding everybody up to talk about Epstein. That would be Charlie Kirk. Because at his last Turning Point USA, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody and their mama showed up to say Trump needs to release them files. And about 2 days later, after he got the call, 2 or 3 of them said, oh, I'm not talking about that no more, because Trump threatened to pull support from them. So even Charlie Kirk was like, I'm done with it. I'm going to let the DOJ handle all that. But people like Megyn Kelly, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, a lot of them, except for Steve Bannon, because he's in the files. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Anyway, I'm just saying, all I know is the whole reason the files kept going is because every right-wing podcaster that came on Turning Point USA that weekend kept it going.
This is a source that I trust very much, and this is coming from the top levels of government. And they were having dinner with people, senators in the Senate Foreign Intelligence Committee. They are not openly saying this at this point.
Of course not.
But in private conversation, they're saying, hey, this looks like potentially Israel is behind this.
Wow.
And then in terms of getting to the actual evidence itself, a very close friend of Charlie Kirk's put out there. Charlie didn't want to put out this tweet himself, but he told a friend to put it out on the internet and said, hey, if I go against Israel, I think they will kill me.
And when did he say this?
This was August 13th.
So less than a month ago.
I can see Charlie over the last few months sort of take in new information and have his mind shift a little bit, right? He used to be an Israeli loyalist. Then he starts to sort of mildly criticize Israel in that, hey, I don't think, we shouldn't be allowed as an American to question the acts of a foreign government.
I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. Mm-hmm. And that's really, really weird, isn't it, Megyn?
And he publicly said, hey, maybe Epstein was Mossad. He certainly had a lot of connections to Israeli ex-prime ministers.
And there's also this clip where he questions how October 7th happened.
Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
I mean, this is a big problem for Israel. Charlie Kirk was maybe the most influential figure on the right, especially with people under the age of 30. Mm-hmm. And when you start to have somebody that influential as a conservative is say, hey, we need to maybe reassess this relationship. There's something weird going on. This is a warning to people in the media to say, hey, you need to stop this right now because you could be next.
What a crazy conspiracy theorist that guy is, right? Well, just one last thing for you. This just came out today from Max Blumenthal and Anya Parampil. Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, was, quote, frightened by pro-Israel forces before death, friend reveals. Ooh, let's take a look at this reporting. Charlie Kirk rejected an offer earlier this year from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to arrange a massive new infusion of Zionist money into his Turning Point USA organization, America's largest conservative youth association, according to a longtime friend of the slain commentator speaking on the condition of anonymity. The source told the Gray Zone that the late pro-Trump influencer believed Netanyahu was trying to cow him into silence as he began publicly questioning Israel's overwhelming influence in Washington and demanded more space to criticize it. In the weeks leading up to his...
So I'm just finishing up the edit of this video, and I came across something insane about the patsy who I referenced earlier, who was arrested at Charlie Kirk's event, and you're definitely going to want to hear this.
What are the odds that George Zinn, the patsy that was arrested at the Charlie Kirk assassination, also saw 9/11, he saw the planes fly into the buildings and called that in and reported it, and then he also called in a fake terrorist attack at the Boston Marathon bombing, and just so happened to get arrested at Charlie Kirk's event?